And at some point, this nation, we've got to move forward. We can't stay on. I mean, people are literally probably dying. We need to be talking about how do we feed people? How do we clothe people? How do we create the best education system? That's what we need to be focused on.
All right, Martin Luther King III, right now his cousin, the niece of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Alveda King, the daughter, of course, of Reverend A.D. King, the younger brother of Martin Luther King. Alveda, good to have you back. Thank you.
Wonderful, Neil, and ditto, ditto, ditto. Everyone is saying the same thing, and none of us are echoes. We're all voices. I agree with my cousin. I agree with the sentiment that Mrs. Clinton is going to the inauguration, and that's, you know, a really great position that she's taking. So I just say ditto, ditto, ditto. As far as Congressman Lewis, he's one of the greatest peacemakers that has ever. His legend is really strong like that, his legacy. And so maybe he can push the politics over just a moment and remember his wonderful days with my uncle MLK. Neil, I want to say condolences on the loss of our hero as well.
Absolutely.
I feel that. And my uncle ML would have loved Hidden Figures, the characters that were there, the John Glenn. I won't peep it if you haven't seen the show, but they resisted racism. The ladies were valiant. They had strong, productive husbands and families, and yet there was no cursing, no violence, and they had a great civil rights victory in that era. So these are the things that we should be remembering, and I want us to remember John Lewis, the peacemaker, the humble peacemaker who has power in that role. So politics has its place, but we can set that aside and actually communicate. And that's what I'm expecting us to do and believing that we can do. Martin Luther King Jr. certainly, following Jesus Christ. My dad was part of that. So, Neil, I think you're doing something good. We're on the verge of communication, and you are pushing the envelope, and I'm grateful.
Well, I'm grateful for all you've meant to this country, Alveda, and I guess what I'm saying is I can understand political heat, even after an election like this, where someone won the popular vote, someone else wins the electoral vote, and it's happened 4 other times in our history, so obviously some anger is there. But to take it to the next level and then look at the role of the Russians hacking the election and make the leap that it changed the outcome of the election, as I think some of these congressmen are saying, doesn't that do lasting damage to the man who's coming in to office on Friday?
Not necessarily, because from the business perspective, when you have different positions and even with countries who are differing, if you can resolve that in a peaceful discussion with proper negotiations and not even have to go and get hostile and violent with it, that is something that my uncle, Martin Luther King Jr., would have encouraged. So certainly with love and unity, but also communication, and it can be done peacefully. And this can happen. So that's what I'm asking that America will consider. And as far as racism, we're one blood, one human race. And so we must come together. We must communicate. We must love each other. And our outcome will be better. It's just, I don't mean to be pointing my fingers, but I'm excited and just wanting us to communicate rather than fight.
Not a bad idea on the left or the right, Alveda. Thank you very, very much. And for all you've done for this country, entire family.
Thank you.
Incredible sacrifices all. So much at stake on this crazy week.